Right, a lovely good afternoon to all you our viewers wherever you're watching us from. This is the View Talk Show right here on TYB, and today is 23rd of August 2024. Now, today we bring you a very beautiful and interesting episode, and obviously we are looking back, or should we say, step back to the RAHi, just getting insight and just wanting to know how that went about. And today is actually very interesting because this is a panel of talkers, or should I say educators. Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Faith. Good afternoon, Malungo. Good afternoon, Iliad. It's a pleasure to be back on the Real Talk. I hope that we have a very exciting conversation, and it's a pleasure to see you guys. I missed you, by the way. What have you guys been?
We missed you too, Jeremiah. We missed you too. Hi, Iliad.
My guy, my coach here. How are you today? Malungo, how are you?
All good, brother. All good.
Wow.
All right.
Now I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen today because it looks like this panel, who is teaching who is hosting who, or who is, it's very interesting because we have the host, and we have the MPs, and we have the parliamentarians, and I will just get all excited. But anyway, you guys, I hope we could make today's discussion really interesting, as we are literally just giving back to our viewers and our followers just, a few things that went down at the RAHi and our takeaways and a whole lot more based on that. And by the way, Elliot, why did you tell us you're from Zimbabwe? So everyone thinks you're from Zambia. Please give a proper introduction, Elliot. Guys, don't you agree with me? Proper introduction, please.
Yeah, he needs to introduce
What do you mean?
so people can know that we are diverse right now on this show today.
All right. Interesting. I hope you guys are okay. My name is Iliad, and the proper definition of my name, it actually means Jehovah the Helper. That's translated to my second name, which is Helper. So I love helping, and I'm always there to assist. Anything not financially, please get in touch. I'm a young person working in the developmental sector of Zimbabwe, specifically on the research aspect. I believe that most of the issues that are happening, not just in Zimbabwe, but in the region, pertaining young people, pertaining the youth, to do with euthanism, young people in health, young people in business, young people in developmental affairs, people in politics. I feel there is need for an agency of looking at the issue at more deeper and more evidence-based approach. So I take it upon myself to then, look into it from a perspective of what's really happening. Why is this happening? And then we get an answer. We ask also why, and then we ask also why, up until we probably get to the fifth whys. That then informs in how we're going to program in terms of young people. And RAHi was one of the brightest and enlightening conferences that I've attended this year. In its design, in its idea. Yeah, so this is the proper conversation and proper introduction that I think you asked me to give.
I was here to let you stop talking because I feel like you might now start just explaining and telling us all our questions before we ask them, hey, what's going on here? It wasn't good, but it was a great introduction.
He was getting deep.
I was just so I'm like, please don't go into the RAHi. But Jeremiah has been quiet for some time, and probably we can start. By the way, you guys, I was the first one to be brought into the stream, so I'll take myself as the main host. Yes.
Yeah. You're welcome. Please do your thing.
With that said, allow me to bring on board our MC, our able-bodied MC for the RAHi. Remember, we're talking about the highlight takeaways for reflecting. That was a really great job, guys. Please Why aren't you clapping? Like you can't?
We got the
So
chair. I don't know
let's
why the chair is pretending to be shy right now. Chair, we need that hype. That hype that will show us that the RAHi is the particular hype that we need right now. What's going on? There's so much pretense on this show today. Come on, let's get it in.
I don't even like it. You know, RAHi, and then today I just find inspect there.
Zimbabwe.
I think we should close with that dance. But anyway, let's dive into this, guys. Before they date us. Jeremiah, you were the MC of the RAHi 2024, and obviously in as much as we had the many icons, I feel like we were at the center as we were directing the program, and it would be really nice to hear from you how you went up about with that, especially when it comes to interacting with people. You're literally bringing our heads together and directing us in different directions, and of course in different segments that we had all throughout the RAHi. Probably you could just tell us a little bit more about that and how that was for you, knowing for the fact that we had about over 5 countries that came through. Yeah, so maybe we can start from there.
Yeah, thank you, Faith. And it's a pleasure to be speaking to you about the RAHi today. First and foremost, the Regional Adolescent Health Indewa is a culmination of loads and loads of preparation. And for me, this preparation takes place at an individual level so much because I have to get my mind ready, I have to get my words ready, I have to get the flow ready as well. But this year's RAHi was special, just like Elliot has mentioned. I was privileged to co-chair the event with Gloria, and I had a wonderful audience. I mean, the Zimbabweans brought their vibe, their energy. The Zambians as well, never disappointing. The Namibians, the Malawans, everyone who was in the room. And as chair and MC, it makes your job very easy when you have an audience that buys into what you're trying to do, and they basically just follow wherever you lead them. So that was very, very easy. But I think it was because also of the tireless work of the organizing committee, who I would like to thank, because they put together a well-suited program that was easy for the chairs to follow. It wasn't just, one long session, the panel discussion. It was a mixture of different things, breakout sessions.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, we had, a gallery session where we broke the room into 4 different sections, and then people just speaking about issues that they were passionate about. So it was a mixture of different things. I like to refer to it as a banquet. When you're at a banquet, there are different meals there. So if you don't like chicken, you have meat, you have different types of, and everyone was feeding onto what they liked. We had conversations to do with sexual and reproductive health, HIV, universal health coverage, the role of members of parliament, not forgetting our colleagues in higher learning institutions, where we are delving deeper into discussing issues that are affecting them. For the first time ever, we also had, a side session specifically for the men and the boys. And kudos to our partners, PEPFAR, for arranging that. And boy, I know that Faith and Malungo, you couldn't attend that session, but I sat into the session. And it was very enlightening because it was a safe space for boys and men to just speak up and open up. So we had, very diverse, views. We had a very well-suited program that was tailored to the needs of the young people. And that is what made RAHi 2024 special. A key highlight for me, guys,
just to cut you short before you forget everything that you mentioned. I think you mentioned HIV and AIDS, you mentioned sexual reproductive issues, you mentioned quite a lot of things, and everything that you mentioned had stakeholders held onto it. And you being the chair, how exactly did you maneuver to make sure that each and every interest of the stakeholders was actually catered for at the RAHi? Because trust me, you were the driver of that show. You were the driver of the RAHi at that point. So how exactly did you make sure that you maneuvered around all the stakeholders to satisfy them?
Yeah, that's a very important question. And as you know, as the youth platform, we do not work alone. We work with different stakeholders to ensure that we deliver such an event. So, for example, we had partners leading specific events. Like when I speak about the Engaging Men and Boys, we had 𝗵𝗄𝗏 leading that conversation. When we speak about sexual and reproductive health and rights, we had the Ministry of Health leading that event. When we speak about universal health coverage, we had CSEM, we had RAHi Health leading that event. So it was different partners leading different events according to their expertise. And as a youth platform, just basically managing the event. So, and I know that the partners are very satisfied with what came out. For example, we had fireside chats as well, which UNICEF led. And many young people were like, you know what, we need to do this more often. Like even after the event, you know, let's sit down and kind of like just digest, you know, what we were speaking about throughout the day. So, you know, we had different partners coming on board, and the young people themselves even requesting, which we have never seen before happen at the RAHi, and saying, look, you as a partner made a presentation, but we are not satisfied. We need more information. Can we sit down with you? And this happened twice. And I was holding my mouth and saying, oh my God, I've never seen something like this happen. You know, the young people saying, we want to sit with the members of parliament and discuss issues related to our national health insurance scheme. The young people saying, UNAIDS, can we sit down with you and discuss the statistics that you've presented with regards to, you know, HIV and AIDS rates in Eastern and Southern Africa? So you see how this demand was generated by the young people in the room as well, and partners obliged. So it was a very, very good experience.
I'm glad that you actually enjoyed the whole experience at the RAHi. Come on, Faith. Can we unmute that mic? Can we unmute that mic? Thank you. Go on now.
Malungo, you and I, this was like our first ever RAHi we've ever attended.
Yeah, sorry.
But yes, you get the point. It was our first ever. And now, looking at the expectations that we might have had, or probably for those people that will come, the young ones, we know to say the RAHi is meant for people to ask and get answers and questions, and obviously just a place and environment where questions you can never ask to any other person are brought down to be discussed about. And so what would be your greatest impression with how things went at this year's RAHi when it comes to the young ones and every person that was in attendance? Do you think we hit the nail on its head in terms of information dissemination and also engagement? And do you think we are positive enough that people really got what they were expecting, even beyond?
So, you know, before I actually answer that question, there's one thing I'm going to say. Please take me back to the RAHi. Please just take me back to the RAHi. Because me just asking you to take me back to the RAHi would literally explain to you how interesting and how much I enjoyed the RAHi. This is my first time, by the way. I know weeks before the actual event, I was talking about RAHi, and sounding like I'm somebody who's been there a thousand times. But it was my first time. And from what I was expecting, yes, I had some glimpse of what to expect at the RAHi, especially because of the show and the talks that would have before the actual event. But trust me, when that event came, I received even more than I expected. That's just how beautiful it was. I received more than I expected. I knew I was going to learn. I knew I was going to interact. I knew I was going to network. But trust me, all this came with great packages. Like, these packages were so good, and I can't even explain it. The only thing I can tell you is take me back to the RAHi. Please take me back to the RAHi. When are we having the next one? Because I can't wait.
Guys, I must confess that I think sometimes in my sleep I do the RAHi dance. Like, I'm not even joking about it.
Next time we're having a DJ on the Root of Show, so that as we are having the show, we need to listen to that theme, and someone is going to play the song, and then you know, where the Zimbabweans?
I had to come on, Jeremiah. Wait, Eliad is trying to join, but I think it's better. Okay. Hey, Eliad, are we stable?
He literally just
we're stable now.
The song from his country, and all of a sudden,
beautiful. You have just thank you. You brought yourself at a very time that I needed you the most on this particular one. Now, was it your first or second or fourth, third time that you attended the RAHi?
It was the first time. It was the first time. I was supposed to attend the previous one last year, but then my brother, the one that I attended with, had an accident, a car accident, on the day we were traveling. So I couldn't be very active. But it was my first time attending RAHi, and I have a lot of things to talk about it. Please just ask me the questions. I'm so.
Thank you. I like how I think in future you should be a teacher. You know, there's just how to ask 𝗪𝗵 question and then you just have a way of just like taking it on and on. Yeah, Elliot, you attended the RAHi for the very first time. And obviously at the RAHi, one of the main objectives there was to have the young people's needs at least met in a way, in terms of educating and sensitizing, and obviously on many issues and challenges that the young people are going through. And we had a number of segments when it comes to like just like what Jeremiah was talking about. We had the fire issues, that way it goes, but yes, and also we had the breakaway sessions, and a lot of issues were being addressed. And just from just a comprehensive take on your side, do you think that the RAHi addressed most of the challenges that young people are facing in Africa? And what would be your greatest suggestion in the new future RAHis to be attended?
Okay, yeah. Like I said, RAHi was very mind-blowing. If you're to talk of adolescents' health, we are looking at their mental space. I think that was one of the pillars, the mental health. There was an issue of substance and drug abuse. There was an issue of high prevalence of HIV and AIDS, and there was an issue of teenage pregnancies. I'm just mentioning some of the themes that came out that had most of my interest. And these are issues that are affecting not just Zambia, not just Zimbabwe, but the region in general. We talk of young people, adolescents, not willing much to invest in their health, forgetting probably or neglecting the fact that their health is their primary responsibility. And I felt like RAHi came in hand, where we as young people and also as adolescents really needed to be educated to see things at a bigger space, to realize that issues that probably Zambian young people are complaining about they are not just on their own. There are also issues that are happening in Malawi. They're the same issues that are happening in South Africa. There was the same issues. I think there was a debate with the guys from 𝗪𝗁 when we're analyzing the data. There was a presentation where we're analyzing the data in terms of which countries are doing quite well.
Remember each and every inch of what happened at the RAHi. I like that. I like that. Go on.
Yeah. So if you're to look at it from a perspective of the makeup of RAHi, that the first day we have the officials coming in, the government representatives. They gave their speeches, their time to listen, not just to give speech, but their time to listen to some of the issues that are happening. And even in the speech, them also be able to articulate issues as they are on the ground. It shows one huge success of RAHi. Then we move on to development partners. We had UNEFA, we have PEPFAR, we had 𝗏, with other civic society organizations. I'm sure they were representative from the 𝗏𝗶𝗵𝗏𝗏 organization and all that, with the nurses, with the young people themselves. I think RAHi was just too pegged. If you wanted to understand issues to do with adolescents' health, it was where you can get from a clinical perspective, with medical actors that were there who get to interact with young people when they come for accessing services or when they have a problem. If you want to understand from the psychological part of these issues, we also had development practitioners coming in to interpret behaviors and interpret why certain things are happening the other way. You also have developmental partners coming from the other end to say, okay, here are the gaps. This is how we're going to take part into it. So the packaging of RAHi in actual sense, I think it was magnificent. The side events were mind-blowing. I understand on the third day with the side event where the ladies were grouped on their own and the gentlemen were grouped on their own, young boys, let's talk, right? Trying to create open spaces to some of the issues that we're facing on a daily basis. So RAHi, the way I envisioned it whilst I was still in Zimbabwe, before I knew exactly what we were going to do, I think I had a smaller vision of how it is or what it is. But as more as I interacted with people, I think even on the very first day, I had time, I was crazy. I was greeting almost everyone, trying to get their names, the native languages, some names I couldn't even be able to pronounce. So I would ask them, okay, so what does it mean? So that at least I remember, and then we interact. At the end of the day, we had young people who are doing, medicine, young people are doing law, young people are doing social work, who are trying to just input into the adolescent's health. So that on its own, I think it's a big achievement to be able to get young people in their diversity, young people who have an interest in solving issues that they are facing. I think gone are the days where young people just fold their hands to let the older generation make decisions for themselves.
Yeah,
and it's always inspiring.
Yeah, we allow particular decision making.
Yeah.
And I love that the RAHi created that for us. Yeah.
You see. So yeah, when young people from different aspects, different regions come together to be part of a solution, it's always inspiring. It's always inspiring. How young people had so much information on their problems, how young people had so much information on how they are probably going to solve the problems. I think the declaration at the end of our RAHi conference, where the declaration that we did as young people, that tells you that young people are ready to take charge and they have all what it takes to solve the issues that they want. Probably what they want is just support from government departments in their different countries. They want support from development partners. They want support also maybe from any other people. With this discussion with members of parliament, I think with chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Health, chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Sexual Reproductive Health. And, if we're able to get these people who make decisions at the highest level, and we are there as young people to tell them the reality and the narratives of how our everyday life is, and they have an interest. Trust me, I don't mean to bootlick. I'm not a Zambian. I'm not from Zambia, but I've met the chairperson for 𝗖𝗁, Honorable Joseph S. something. We have met, I think, in about 4 or 5 international conferences. We're together in Zambia, we're together in Botswana, we're together at CIFIA and all that. And that shows that they are willing to have an understanding of what are other countries doing, how are they doing it better, what are we doing better, how best can we integrate all that. So in actual sense, RAHi was just mind-blowing. 1, as a young person myself, 2, as a programmer, 3, as someone who is just eager and who has the energy to see young people getting better and, seeing the region growing in general. So yeah, envisioning RAHi from here, definitely you need popcorn. There is more to come, trust me. We're intrigued, we're eye-opened, we made networks. Right now, I know if I'm in Zambia, I'm not going to get lost. I can always just call someone. If I want to do a research in Namibia, I know young people,
You don't even have to book a room at a hotel and spend your money.
You see, yeah.
Okay.
Did you also find yourself a wife, though?
Oh my God! I think I remember. Ellen actually mentioning something about a wife. Could you please tell us how that went?
I cannot confirm nor deny those allegations.
Because they're true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it
So
was a beautiful place. Yeah.
you really talked a lot about the positive sides of the RAHi. I'm not a witch, believe me, but we always want to learn and we always want to grow as TYP as we move forward. So are there any hiccups that any of you found the whole time we were at the RAHi? I think we'll start with our co-host, because co-host, you were literally the overseer, you oversaw everything. Are there any hiccups that you feel like you faced as a co-host there?
Yeah, I mean, for an event of that magnitude, you are guaranteed that there's a couple of things that are gonna happen that you might foresee. But I think the biggest of them all was the fact that we needed more time. I know that time is never enough, but
that's a very huge fact. I love that.
Yeah,
We needed more time.
I think we need more time. And
A
all
week.
the stakeholders in the room realize the importance of this. More time, I mean, maybe perhaps just extend the event to one more day. I know that traditionally we've had the RAHi for 3 days straight, but maybe have it maybe for 4 days, to continue, just to allow for all of those conversations to happen. Because we don't want to have a situation where people are having to leave the venue late, because conversations just kept on going and going and going. And we don't want to have to stop these conversations, because we don't have so many events like the RAHi where young people can freely express themselves, where we bring different stakeholders together. So that's definitely one of those areas to improve. I think we need more countries in the room. And this can only be possible if we have more stakeholders coming on board. I mean, the Zimbabweans just led the way when it comes to, what it means to support a regional event. They came in their numbers, and we want to see this happen even more. So, as the youth platform, we call on many other stakeholders to come on board and partner with us, and ensure that, many more countries come on board, right? We want to have, many more Botswanans on board, many more South Africans on board, many more Congolese on board. Everyone, this is a regional intervention, so we expect that the region is, ably represented, because we want to ensure that there are diversity in the room. But this year, I know we did things differently. We had, such an amazing international atmosphere, which is the right step in the right direction. I think also maybe we could have more, decision makers in the room. I know that we had 3 members of parliament who dedicated, their time to being with us, but we are saying that we need more, right? And we need more of people who are actually making the decision. I mean, where are the directors in these ministries who make these decisions? Where are the permanent secretaries? Where are the ministers themselves? Maybe next year, let's have the president in the room so that he listens for himself. What are the priorities young people think when it comes to, their health, right? There are conversations.
I like the fact that, sorry to cut you short, I like the fact that you mentioned stakeholders and people from different ministries, because I think one other hiccup that we had more representation from Zambian stakeholders. And for the fact that the RAHi is regional now, it has gone big, it's regional. So I think next time it would be amazing if we had stakeholders and other people from other countries as well, because even as much as we the youth have complaints, those people can also have solutions for us. Now imagine we were in a room full of stakeholders from Zambia only. How are the other people going to tackle their issues from their own countries? So I think that will definitely be worked on, should be worked on, so that we can have representation not only from the youth but also from the stakeholders.
And I mean, I think Wallace just still on that point. I think it's also very important that we have regional representation from regional bodies. I know at Zambia we belong to SADC, for example. Let's have a SADC representative in the room. We belong to COMESA. Let's have a COMESA representative in the room. Let's work with the African Union, because then we begin to speak to regional representation. Some of the policies, for example, that we are trying to interrogate, regional, continental policies, and those are the bodies that oversee, the continental, regional interventions of all of these countries. They manage all of these countries, so it's only right that we have all of them in the room as young people express themselves. So I definitely now really look forward to RAHi 2025. Also, if you had the board chair and the executive director mentioned, we are slowly getting to the African adolescent health 𝗍𝗏. Slowly but
We
surely,
keep data. We keep
and
data.
we're
I
getting
like
there.
that.
So we keep building the momentum towards having an African thing where now we bring all the continent, all the countries, sorry, on board, and then continue this.
It might even be global. Come on, why are you holding back? It might be global.
Elliot has been quiet for too long. Elliot, I have this very interesting question for you. The regional adolescent health 𝗍𝗏, like my other two friends just earlier mentioned, it's regional, and it would be very interesting to, from what you learned and your experience at the RAHi, do you think the young people do we have the similar challenges? Because at a point, people would sound like, because it's in Zambia, it's all about Zambia. But do you think we catered issues, or we addressed issues at a regional level? Do you feel like what happened at the RAHi, it's something that is worth somebody from Mozambique coming back again next year and attend? Did we spread the gospel? Are we having the same challenges? And is that space conducive enough to express and explore and just come together as a region, and address these issues that we were talking about? Were they beneficial at regional level?
Wow. Those are lots of questions. I know it's one question that you're just trying to break it down and all that. All right. Like I said, RAHi in its design, I don't know whoever came up with the idea, but if I was supernatural, I was going to offer that person maybe a special place in heaven with Wi-Fi and probably air conditioning in heaven for that person. Issues that came through at RAHi are practical issues. If you had to look at drug and substance abuse in Zimbabwe, just 2 months back, the president launched the drug and substance abuse strategy plan. The issues are getting very serious. If it's about teenage pregnancies, issues are everywhere, right? And personally, I've been serving in the SADC Youth Envoy People's Network. And RAHi, in as much as it's taking its baby step in shaping to be very regional, I think we are in the right directions. But before I get to the question, I think Jeremiah said something in terms of making it full regional, if I may to say it. I feel like in an area that was going to be a bit easier in terms of getting other representatives from other countries, especially when you talk of the dignitaries, maybe the delegates, was if there could be an invite to the embassies of these countries in the region. It might be difficult for a minister of Minister of Youth and Minister of Health to come all the way from Zimbabwe, but it's easy for Ambassador of Zimbabwe because he's also in Lusaka, he's in Zambia, and he's equally representing his country. He knows the issues. It's easy for the ambassador of Lesotho. It's easy for the ambassador. So I think going the diplomatic way of just giving them invites, and also they can be part of it to authentify, because they are always in touch with activities that are happening in their countries. I think it was going to cover a broad base. Yeah. So I thought that was one area, maybe in terms of getting all these countries. It might be difficult to get all the young people that are working on health from Congo, from Tanzania, but we have a whole diplomatic office that can do that. So I felt like they needed to fuse, or maybe there's a room for us for the next RAHi to fuse in embassies, to fuse in the members of parliament, to fuse in the ministers, like you said, permanent secretaries and directors, for that. Then in terms of RAHi addressing the real issues. I'm speaking from a person who came all the way from Zimbabwe, and maybe just to correct the assumption that Zimbabwe is Harare. No, Harare is something else. I come from Masvingo. I literally had to travel, I think, over 8 hours to get in Harare, and then more 8 hours also. So I'm on the other extreme of Zimbabwe. And so we other young people also. Others were coming from Lawayo, Mutare, all angles. Literally, the whole numbers that you got were coming from literally across the whole of Zimbabwe. And issues were on point, like I said. Issues were on point. But in terms of probably not to dilute the power that my chair and my co-chair had, there was still, even in the next RAHi, be the co-chairs and the chairs. I felt there was need to increase participation of other countries, giving them charge of probably other dates. If they're going to be chairing, maybe the core and the vice on the first day, and maybe we have Swaziland, Lesotho and Mozambique on the second day chairing, so that at least we have, if I think you can agree with me as a chair, you have the privilege to even, talk after a presentation is done. So maybe if we get young people from other countries, there's a point that comes in and they are representing their country, they might have a very insightful contribution using the leverage of, the privileges of being a chair on that particular day. And, it would mold up into the quality of conversations that we have. I would say this, not to dilute your power as co-chair. I still want to be considered to attend the next RAHi. So I don't intend to threaten your power or your word, but it's just something that I thought.
Let them hear you.
Yeah, so I felt that was a gap.
Yeah. I
don't know. I can't hear what Faith is saying.
Should we turn on your mic on your behalf? I think this stream should have a provision.
Guys, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm saying, with the powers I have, I don't know if I can be allowed to punish Elliot because he's running away from my question. He's giving me recommendations. He's giving me recommendations of what he thinks can be done in the next RAHi.
No.
Rather than telling.
In my defense, it was a point that the co-chair raised, and I had something to talk about it. Now, back to your question. I feel.
Yes, please.
Back to your question. Yes, issues were met in the depth of conversation that they can have. Issues were brought out. It was a very clear space, in as much as it was more like a conversation of dignitaries and government departments from Zambia. Equally, the participants had time to have question and answer session. And I want to thank the co-chair. He did make sure that almost everyone, well, in the interest of time, almost everyone who had something to say, had their voice heard. There was diversity in terms of participation, with young people from Namibia being part of panelists. I was also privileged to be part of the high panel of the RAHi, where we had the MPs, and I was also representing young people, not from Zimbabwe, but from the region, and issues to do with RAHi in general. I think where we probably need, I'll still go back to the recommendations, but anyway, it's not a recommendation, but it's also a loophole that was there in the process, or maybe in programming. It's the ascension, maybe at the end or at the beginning of RAHi, which build agency in young people advocating these issues at a more professional way, not activism. Activism always works. We can get in these spaces. We want condoms. We want this. There's no health. NEMA, the issues of NEMA. I now know NEMA inside and out from Zimbabwe. They were coming in. How young people are not satisfied with that kind of a service. But I felt like we need to build agency. If in the next RAHi we have a session where we're like, what are the law-making processes in Zambia that even after RAHi, if someone wants to petition a parliament after a certain issue as an individual, or if they want to build movement to, bring agency to a certain topic, how that can be done. So I felt like it's a component within the region, within the regional RAHi operations that we needed. But above all and beyond, I think RAHi managed to get all the issues that we're supposed to get. It's now left up to us as young people. We're enlightened. We had different versions of issues that are happening in different parts of the world. It's now up to us after RAHi to say, how are we going to move from here? Are we going to sit down on all this information that we got? Also, I felt like the declaration that we made as RAHi needs to be shared with country representatives. They can push it through their local authorities, through their government authorities, so that the declaration is heard in all governments. They know that what the young people are saying. They know what we want and how we're going to get what we want.
Okay, thank you so much, Eled, for that submission.
Yeah.
We really appreciate, but as the Real Talk Show, we are always interacting with our viewers as well. So right now, we're just going to run through some of the comments that are coming from those people who are watching all across Africa. Now, I'm not saying all across Zambia because, come on, we are regional, all across Africa. So we have the first comment from Kababu. I see you, my favorite ladies, Faith and Malungo, 𝗖𝗵𝗁𝗁. Thank you so much, Kababu. I hope you're
favorite ladies, ne?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, we have another one from Yvonne watching from Zimbabwe, RAHi 𝗂𝗁𝗁. Thank you so much, Yvonne. I understand why I said we are reading comments from all across Africa today. We have one from Faith, following from 𝗪𝗁, Western Province. Thank you so much, Faith, for keeping in touch and always being there on the Real Talk Show. I'm even starting to know our people now. We have another one.
I see my chair.
Gloria. I just noticed that. Listening from Kenya, RAHi actually in the chair. Thank you so much, Gloria. We are happy to have you.
Why do we have the hat on chair? We need to follow that comment. Why is there a hat? Chair.
Next time, Chair is coming here as a guest because we have so much to talk about with you as well. Yeah. So that's what we have from our comment. And right before we close, I would love to ask one important question to each and everybody who's here, including our host, our chair, our developer. Generally, the RAHi, just generally, tell me how you felt at that particular moment from the beginning to the end of the RAHi. How did you feel? Who are we starting with? Okay, come on, Faith, give us. All right, so we're gonna start with Faith. Just tell us how you felt as a youth, as a member of the RAHi, just as you. How did you feel?
First and foremost, I want to say thank you, Madam Malungo, and to the TYP platform for having brought something that gave a space to many young people and adolescents just to interact and have space to express themselves better than they would in any other place. It was my first time to attend the RAHi, and to be honest, I don't think I've ever attended such in my whole life. I'm old enough plus something, but that was one of the kind. That was one of the kind. I say so because, the RAHi covered a lot of things. A workshop, sometimes you only have one agenda and it's all done. But I feel like the RAHi was encompassed with so much content, and everyone, in a way, was met at their very right point of need. It was a platform, an event that didn't segregate on who was who, but everyone had a way of, there was inclusivity. And for me, that is a place where a young person should be to learn, and also for social interactions, and just know to say, it gave me a feeling of there is a place I can go to when I cannot talk to my family. And for me, I feel like that is a platform that we young people are looking for. If I'm going through a situation, I can't talk to my relatives because I am scared, I know I can run to TYP and I'll find somebody to talk to. It was, I had never known about the Transbandu. I had never known about them. I didn't know so many groups that came. I don't know if you noticed. The deaf,
a number of groups,
and there are these groups that we have, even us as young ones, that we don't even know that they actually exist. But the RAHi will make you know things that you never even thought would exist, you know. And apart from that, there are people in society who have been segregated or labeled in a certain way to say probably maybe they are disregarded, you know. But then when they come on board at the RAHi, you would literally listen to somebody talking and you'd be like, oh, this is what these people are going for. So for me, it was an eye-opener. It was a platform that made me realize that you can have family with TYP even out of your family. It was a place that would teach me one condom, one round. You know, and also
I feel that you say that, you know, I just can't wait. There's one slogan, you know, not saying.
And the most important thing for me was the coming together, people from different countries, and be in a space and feel like you are all from Zimbabwe. You know what I mean? It is very rare, even when you talk about friendships and coexistence of countries, but the RAHi just had a way of bringing these people from different places and make it as one family. And I feel like I'll be very comfortable if I had a challenge to talk to Elliot and tell him to say, yo man, this is going on with me, and he'll come out and he'll talk to me because I have the den of TYP, and then he knows to say, this is family. And that was the most important thing for me. I can go on and on like Elliot, but please, I submit.
Wow. Why do I feel like this response was actually very strategic? Anyway, but let's not call it strategic. It was really amazing that you were able to get that and just consider it. Why is Elliot dropping? Why is he dropping? Anyway, since he's dropping right now, we're going to move on to our co-chair. Same question posed to you, co-chair. Just tell me how you felt about the RAHi. When it all ended, when it began, when it ended, just how did you feel about it?
For me, first was a deep breath, and most importantly, thanking the Lord that we were able to deliver such an event. Privileged to have been part of so many others, but this one was truly very special. I don't take it for granted. Thank the platform, Mr. Malambo, and his entire team for the opportunity. Most importantly, also with Gloria, the chair of this year's conference, she brought a lot of expertise, a lot of maturity, a lot of wealth of knowledge to the event, which was gratifying. And I'm gonna sum up, I think, my experience like this. Winston Churchill rightly put it when he said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that ultimately matters. And it's true for the RAHi. It's the courage to continue pulling on such great events that ultimately matters. So thank you so much, guys, for hosting me today. I look forward to continuing this event. Peace.
Well, that sounded like a written speech, and I'm like, okay, why is he being so intellectual, this man?
Hey.
Okay, fine, I'm childish.
Hey. Fine. And you want me to speak after this?
He got all your points, didn't he?
So, okay. First of all, RAHi was beautiful. I met a person, I met someone. I will not talk about it on TV show.
Did you meet a wife? Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, and then I added a new genre of music in my playlist, guys. Yo, you have no idea. The Zambian music, the Namibian music. My playlist is so just beautiful. But over and above, my attendance to the RAHi Zambia was just mind blowing. It was a lot of intellectuals, you know, young people, like the fine cream that you can get from different countries, who are passionate about solving issues, who are knowledgeable, you know, brilliant people from all over. I think, Malungo, I should give you're the first kind person to me who was not Zimbabwean.
You make me cry. Come on,
you know,
relax.
Well, and I see Faith. She's not the one that I met. No, she was just the kind one. But yeah, I look forward to RAHi 2025. rest assured, this was eye-opening. I know what to expect. I know, you know, who has to attend, who was not there, maybe from the Zimbabwean side, that I'm going to, you know, take along to say, guys, you don't have to miss this. You're worthy to attend. You're worthy to apply. And well, you guys are just awesome. The whole team, TYP. I ran out of words. You're just, I don't know. And there was Rabson from the media guys. Yo, our pictures were so beautiful. The narratives come out quite nice. You know, yeah, Gloria as she walked to the stage. As she walked. Yeah, it was beautiful, guys. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. Malungo, give us in less than 30 seconds your experience, please.
I thought it would skip me because I asked the question. Anyway.
No.
Anyway, but for my experience, all I can say is the RAHi was beautiful. And I won't continue. I won't stop saying this. Take me back to the RAHi. That experience was really wonderful. I was able to meet new people, kind people. Iliad, there's a lot of chemistry here, but we'll keep it for another day. But I was able to meet new people from all across Africa. I was able to exchange knowledge. I was able to also know what people out there are going through, not only what we are going through in our country, but also what they are going through in their countries. Because at the end of the day, we are one. And the whole point of the RAHi is to bring youth from all across Africa together. And I just love the fact that at the end of the RAHi, we tried to meet that objective. We actually kind of met it. The more we keep going, I know we'll meet it at a very higher space, but for now we did our best, and I was so happy. I love the whole experience. Was that 30 seconds? Please tell me it was.
Well, thank you so much.
At least I'm not the only one who goes on and on and on and on and on.
We have to go. Well, thank you so much to our viewers who stayed tuned and followed today's Real Talk Show episode. We were just doing a quick flashback, or rather just getting highlights on what happened at RAHi. Remember, being part of the TYP and participating in this, you realize that we, the young people, have got the brains, the capacity, and obviously the energy that we need to change the world into a better place, to a place that we want to see it be. And remember, the power to change the world, and for you to see the change that you want to see, it all begins with you. Thank you so much, guys. It has been a pleasure being with you on this show. Meet us again next week, same time, same place, right here. For now, it's bye-bye. And
one round, one condom.
One condom, one round.
Close with the dance, please. Without the stove.